Hello, this is game 1 and I win the die roll, so obviously I'm going first. I have no idea what my opponent is playing, so here I have to evaluate my hand. I have 2 lands, 1 Brainstorm, 1 Thirst for Knowledge, 1 Voltaic Key, 1 Mana Drain and 1 Force of Will. And the 2 lands are both fetch lands. Looking at this hand, it has protection, and I probably have a decent mid game with Thirst for Knowledge. With my double fetch, I'll have to consider I can consider casting Brainstorm on turn 2 instead of turn 1. Usually you want to hold back Brainstorm as long as you can, like preordained in standard. The main idea why is because you want to be able to throw in useless lands back and shuffle them away. So Brainstorm will get more value if you do so. So that is also why you usually want to hold back your fetch lands as long as you can. The only time you don't is when you suspect your opponent has a stifle. So here I lead off with fetch land. It doesn't really matter which fetch land you play, because let's look at the fetch lands I'm playing. I'm playing Delta, Misty Rainforest, Scalding Tarns. The reason why most people play diverse fetch lands would be because you can actually get hit by a Pitting Needle. Pitting Needle, if you somehow sneak into play and name like a Delta, will be very bad for all your subsequent polluted deltas. So this is one of the reasons why people choose to diversify their fetch lands, although they can actually just play the like 4 deltas. Anyway, I'm not playing any basic mountain or forest or swamp, so all of these can be just a generic blue fetch land. So if I'm saying that, I could actually have a flooded strand in here as well. Okay, now back to the match. Here, against an unknown deck, you wouldn't crack your fetch land. There are many reasons why you don't. Firstly, if you crack a fetch land, you have to consider which land you want to get. If you get a non-basic, you risk facing a wasteland from the other side. If you fetch for a basic, you risk getting hit by Ghost Quarters, whereby if you look here, I'm only playing 1 island, so I want to prevent any Ghost Quarter blowouts, especially when I have no idea what my opponent is playing. So here my opponent has Wasteland and leads with a Lotus Petal. So here this may be an Oath deck, because Oath plays this, or it could be a 4 color or green-white fish build, mainly because the blue fish variants don't run Lotus Petal. And here Aether Vial eliminates Oath, so you know that this is probably green-white or green-white-black-red fish. And here I cast Force of Will, pitching my Brainstorm, mainly because if I don't counter this, everything can come down untouched and my mana drain and Force of Will will become dead. If I counter this, next turn I can mana drain the 2 casting cost bear and run my Thirst for Knowledge to get back into the game. One thing to note is that you don't always want to Force of Will spells unless you have to, especially against such decks where they have numbers and you are actually throwing 2 spells to counter 1, and this doesn't really do much. So if I actually resolve my Thirst for Knowledge and discard my artifact, I'm only going to parity because I've already lost 1 card here. So here I lay my second fetch to guard against Wasteland. If I run my City of Vast, my opponent can lay a colored land, sack the petal and cast a bear which I can't mana drain. And here Knight of the Reliquary comes out and I proceed to mana drain. So here I searched out a basic island because I know that my opponent is running Wasteland and this deck doesn't run Ghost Quarter, so if more Wastelands pop out I can still hide back behind my basic island. So usually that's this flow of events would be quite good, but ultimately this matchup is not one that I can hope to grind out because I have a few dead counter spells. If you look, Mental Misstep, Spell Pierce don't really do anything, and Nature's Claim might be useful, but my main mode of attack is muted and I have many rather dead cards. Even my best Jace the Mind Sculptor is not very useful when it comes to holding off multiple creatures, especially when they cost 2 mana. And I still have extra Force of Wills to further whittle away my hand. So here I discard Voltaic Key, which is the most natural discard because I need to hold back mana creep so that I can cast Yawgmoth's Will. Let's say if I discarded mana creep and I get my land blown out, I wouldn't be able to cast my Yawgmoth's Will. And there's no reason for me to discard Yawgmoth's Will on my lands. So here I cast my Voltaic Key, mainly because I have my mana crypt in hand. So if I spend the mana here, I can actually get additional mana off my mana crypt. Otherwise, if I cast and untap, this would not add any additional mana for my mana crypt to Yawgmoth's Will back. So here a quick look, and I know that I wouldn't have been able to use my mana crypt for Yawgmoth's Willing into Thirst for Knowledge. And I made a mistake on the last turn where I actually tapped my basic island to cast my Thirst for Knowledge. So here he actually played his Strip Mine and killed both of my lands. If I had Island untapped rather than Underground Sea, it will actually suggest that I may have mana drain and he would have to play around it. If let's say instead of Strip Mine he played a normal land, he could actually go and wasteland my Underground Sea and get it resolved, knowing that I don't have mana drain. So here I played my Delta and he has demonic tutor. So in this case, he probably has tutored for something that will get him some card advantage, because this is a deck that would want to grind you up and can do so much better than I can grind him, as explained before. So here I drew Mox Opal. I can try to cast Thirst for Knowledge from my graveyard, but it doesn't look very spectacular. Hopefully I draw something like a Brainstorm so that I can get a little more value for my Yakmor's Will. My opponent plays Aether Vial and I don't respond, and also has Dark Confidant, so this is probably the card he tutored for. Here I can't really sit back and wait for him to do everything, so I have to go on the offensive and try to mount a comeback with my Yakmor's Will, especially with my Tolarian Academy. So here I played my Voltaic Key from the graveyard, and I cast Thirst for Knowledge using my Tolarian Academy mana. And I discarded a Soul Ring to my Thirst for Knowledge and kept a Nihil Spellbomb. Definitely I can't be discarding my library and another thing, so it's between these two. And here I really need a business spell to come, which is why I took this, which draws a card. The thing is that I can't crack it. I can't crack it here. If I crack it on my turn, it will actually be removed from the game via Yakmor's Will's second line, so I won't be able to draw my card. So here I have to pass the turn. My opponent revealed Gardock Teeth, and I don't have to worry about Aether Vial doing much. So Wasteland destroys my Tolarian Academy. My opponent plays a Gardock Teeth here. What I could have done is to crack my Nihil Spellbomb here, so that I may have an answer. Like, let's say if I draw Mana Drain, I can Mana Drain the Teeth. So that was a mistake. Here I cracked the Spellbomb, hoping to draw into a Snapcaster Mage, which doesn't come. So yeah, it comes to my turn. I draw another land and I play. Here I want to hide my Riptide Laboratory, mainly because yes, my deck hasn't actually revealed what I'm playing. So far all I have is control elements. I may be playing a Bob deck, and right now nobody knows that I'm playing Snapcaster Mage, so I need to keep this a secret, which is why I played my Tropical Island, which looks more daunting than my Library of Alexandria. So here he draws again. Let's see what he revealed. He revealed a Tight Hollow Scholar. So this is it's not very good for me, because if I draw something that is sorcery speed, I will get hit by this on the upkeep and I won't be able to cast it. So here I drew into Vendilion Quake, probably the best thing I could draw against a Tight Hollow Scholar, because if I drew Thirst for Knowledge, I wouldn't be able to get any value out of it. Still, it's not very useful here. I look at his hand, he has Demonic Consultation. I play my Riptide Laboratory, hopefully to allow me to block and bounce. Why I chose not to kill the Dark Confidant is because there is a slight possibility that I may be able to come back into the game by him flipping cards and me attacking. So here he has Scavenging Ooze, which is quite bad because it can shut off my Snapcaster Mage. So here he has Demonic Consultation for Knight of the Reliquary. And I scoop. And here I'll have to recreate my sideboard link strategy. I took out Nature's Claim. I put in 2 Ancient Grudges, mainly to fight the Aether Vial and Tidehollow Sculler. And I put in Old Man of the Sea. I probably took out 1 Force of Will and I think it's spell Pierce. Let me think. Probably took out. Yeah, this is probably my configuration. In this matchup, it actually comes down to me protecting Blacksteel Colossus or resolving a Vault Key. Usually, the ideal one is this, with backup from Mental Misstep to hit the removal such as Swords to Plowshares or what's the other one? Path to Exile. Those are the only 2 ways to get rid of this other than Relic Quarter. So usually if I have Force of Will and Mental Misstep backup, I will win the matchup. So let me go to my game 2. So here obviously I play first. I have a rather bad hand. As you can tell, it doesn't have any of my sideboarded spells, and I've actually Seed of the Synod, which is open to some of the artifact destruction that my opponent plays. So here my best play would be to play my Library of Alexandria. Here I don't have anything I want to mana drain into, so I don't waste my Force of Will. Hopefully my Library of Alexandria will find me my Old Man of the Sea or my Fire Eyes, which I can Snapcaster Mage back. So this is my game plan for this round. And I don't counter it so that I can hopefully try to Library of Alexandria out and get as much advantage as I can get. So here I cast my Nihil Spellbomb, which opens it to hold us. Well, it doesn't really open much since this is not a white mana. If this is white mana, I may have wasted a spell to the Relic Quarter. So hopefully he doesn't force me to use my Force of Will so that I can have Library of Alexandria. Here he searches out Wasteland, which is a very valid play, so that because he already has Aether Vial to get back value. Okay, so continuing with my turn, I cast Brainstorm main, which is not what I would usually do, but here I already know that whatever he casts I can Force of Will, and I need to start to plan into what I can do. So here I have my I kept Ancient Grudge so that I can get rid of Aether Vial and put him back to the casting one creature per turn flow of the game. So here I waited for Aether Vial to be activated, and he dropped Tarmotalk, which is probably the worst creature for me to face. Tarmotalk is probably a one-off, and for another thing, it shuts off all my hate that I hope to play against it. So here I'm still really hoping to get my Tinker. So here I would Ancient Grudge the Aether Vial so that I force him to play normally. And one thing to note is that my Spell Bomb wouldn't actually get a lot of value against the Tarmotalk here, because counting the different kind of spells in the different kind of cards in the graveyard, it has Artifact, Instant and Land, which I also have Land, Instant and Artifact. Here he casts Scavenging Ooze, which I brainstorm. So I was thinking how I should approach this, but here in this case I can have Demonic Tutor and search out Tinker, so I don't have to be worried about the ooze. And one thing to note is that we don't actually have creatures in the graveyard, so I can trade my Snapcaster for the Scavenging Ooze. So here I Demonic for Tinker, and here I intend to block the Scavenging Ooze with my Snapcaster. So why do I do that? Mainly because if I cast Snapcaster later on with the Ooze in play, I definitely won't be able to get any value out of it if he leaves green open. And one more thing is that my life is now at 13. For me to survive longer, I need to make sure that I will be able to not be in a position whereby he can have a blocker for my Blightsteel and kill me with a Tarmotalk on the swing back. So here I block the Scavenging Ooze. And I have Tinker. So here I actually opted to break the draw a card from Spell Bomb. There are dangers of doing so in that, let's say if I actually drew my Blightsteel Colossus, then I wouldn't have any useful spells to useful artifacts to search out in this from this position. Of course the odds are low, which is probably why I did it. And here in this position he almost has no way to defeat me, because I can mental misstep his white removal, and I have double Force of Will and enough fodder for it. So he casts Path to Exile, which I mental misstep. Here he can't take a clean hit, which is why in any situation I will have Force of Will the creature that he will cast. So here I won the game, and let me look at my third game. So here, looking at my hand, it's not very spectacular. but I do have a Fire and Ice and a Demonic Tutor, and I have a potential turn 1 Thirst for Knowledge, which I can discard Black Steel, which makes this hand quite promising. The only issue is that I'm mana light. So if he gets rid of my blue mana, I'm probably dead. So here I lead with mana creep. This is because I want to get out my turn 1 Thirst for Knowledge to draw into lands. Damage itself is not a big issue here, and if I can get as much mana out, hopefully I can get my Ancient Grudge to kill the Aether Vial. So here I proceeded to cast my Thirst for Knowledge on my turn, mainly because I have the spare mana, which I may be able to do something with. So here my opponent has Wasteland for my Seed of the Synod, and he has Nature's Claim for my Soul Ring. But still I have mana, and I top deck a very useful land, mainly because I can get rid of this, and hopefully I don't get blown out by another Wasteland. So here I will crack this for Volcanic Island and Ancient Grudge the Vial. So anything he casts, I can actually fire, other than Tarmotalk. So here I hoped to draw into my black mana so I can immediately go for Demonic Tutor for Tinker, but it looks like I'll have to play the control game for a while. My opponent is down to 3 cards, so my position is quite good. Here my opponent casts Knight of the Reliquary. I don't actually so I have to think about what I can do. So here right now I don't actually have mana for my Demonic Tutor, and if Knight of the Reliquary starts to do its thing with Strip Mine, I can be totally blown up. So I force of will the Knight of the Reliquary. So here I brainstorm, and I think I put back a land, and I'll put back I should be putting back a Laboratory. So here I'm going for Demonic, and I want to go into Tinker mode. This is not the best position I want to be, and the Brainstorm in my hand actually saved my Tinker. And I put back a Time Vault, and I'm gonna hide my Tinker, and he'll have Mana Drain and Thirst for Knowledge to remove. Well, most likely Thirst. So here I'm actually in quite a dilemma. If I have Tinker out for my Black Steel and he actually has any removal, I don't have Mana Drain backup. And I was thinking about going to the next turn, but the situation doesn't actually become better. Next turn if I draw my Mana Creep, my Time Vault, I'll cast it with my Mana Creep, and I'm still not in a very good position, and I'm open to just normal Nature's Claim kind of effects. So here I search out Black Steel Colossus, and my opponent casts Gadok Tip. which is very good for me because it wasn't actually the business spell. Here he top decks Maze of Eve, which conveniently shuts down my Blightsteel Colossus. Here I mana drain the Scavenging Ooze so that if I draw this, I can get value out of it. So here I'll cast my Mana Vault. So he can't attack and I can't attack. He's running low on the timer, so I attack to make him activate his Maze of Eve. So here he Demonic Consultations for Leonin Relic Warder, which is irrelevant here, mainly because I already can't get in with Maze of Eve. I flash back the Ancient Grudge and get back my Thirst for Knowledge. So here I discard Time Vault because I can Snapcaster into Demonic into Yagmoth's Will. So here he actually misses out on the remove the exiling of my Blightsteel Colossus. Of course it doesn't really matter here unless he draws anything with what's that called? Exalted. Why I say it's irrelevant is because I Snapcaster to block it. So here I drew my Yagmoth's Will and he's good.